And welcome to Garber Field as Lac Sports Network proudly presents the College Lacrosse Game of the Week. In Amherst, Massachusetts, the Minutemen of UMass host the top-ranked team in the country, the Albany Great Danes of the America East Conference. Chris Marshall alongside. I'm Brendan Glasheen. We have a treat today for you on LSN. Number 1 Albany visiting UMass, a team that's lost 2 in a row. Albany, of course, has started 3-0. Second straight week, the Great Danes are number 1 in the country. Your initial thoughts, knee-jerk reaction as these two take the field?
This is the oldest rivalry on the books for the Great Danes. They've been playing as long as Coach Marr has been there. This is a matchup where it doesn't matter what the rankings are. UMass has been able to get Albany when they've been ranked and vice versa, so there is definitely no love lost between these two matchups, especially here in Massachusetts. You're looking on Garber Field. This is a tough place to play. They always come ready to go. You got some fans up there. It's a beautiful day for lacrosse. I'm excited for this matchup.
Great Danes starting attackman, Connor Fields, Dahoga Nanticoke, Justin Ray. The midfielders are Jacob Patterson, Sean Eccles, and Kyle McClancy. Defensemen, Matt Perla, Eric DeLuey, and Connor Filipowski with TD Erline at the X momentarily as both teams get together at midfield. JD Colarusso, is in goal today for Albany, and for the Minutemen of UMass, Buddy Carr, Devin Spencer, and Chris Connolly are the attackmen. Jeff Traynor, Kevin Tobin, and Jake Lisoskas are the midfielders. Defensemen Isaac Paparo, Jackson Subak, and Luke Valenza. And Hampton Brandon, a freshman, is getting the start today for UMass.
Yeah, welcome to the show, young buck. First career start in the cage for the product out of Atlanta, Georgia. No Stone Sims in the lineup today. He will not play as he is sidelined with a lower body injury. That's a big matchup to look at. That could be a soft spot in the defense for the Danes.
Noah Rack and TD Erlin.
Erlin riding a 36 face-off win streak currently over 2 games. Rack nearly got him.
He went 24 for 24 on Sunday against Cornell. He was one shy of having the perfect record as far as face-off wins without losing one in that 11-9 win. Albany trailed by 2 goals at 3:18 to play, and they rallied to get the win and stay. Shot whistled from the McClancy, one of the best midfielders in the country.
Yeah, he's a guy that just never leaves the field for the Danes. I mean, you watch him as this game goes on. He spends more time on the field as a midfielder than you see a lot of people do.
Eccles and McClancy play catch up top. First look at Nanticoke. He's 1 in the gold and purple.
It's like UMass dropped into a zone here.
Greg Cannella told us pregame the 24th year head coach will see a little bit of both defenses. Feed to Nanticoke, he draws a double team, nearly plucked away. Isaac Paparo and Luke Valenza get in on it for the Minutemen. And Albany comes away with it.
2 fortunate things on that play. Probably could have been called for a penalty, could have been called for playing without the ball, going both ways, like the officials letting them play. I think that definitely goes in UMass's favor.
Connor Fields dishes out. Fields 4 points away from 300 in his career. We could see a milestone today. He continues to rack them up in his senior season.
We need to average just under 6 through the national championship game to break the all-time record. Not impossible with this squad here. At Albany going into that circle open set. Classic zone breaker.
McClancy has the only shot thus far, but a bouncer from the outside. Sean Eccles connects, and Albany scores first.
And Eccles just picking up where he left off. This is exactly what we saw them do against Cornell. They want to get that shot inside. You look at the rotation coming on the circle. They were unable to get it. It was a good rotation defensively, and he's able to put that one in from the top of the box. I mean, that's just excellent offense. They creep that top line in and get him a decent shot. Go high to low, change the lane, change the shot level, and that's a good goal for them.
Great patience out of the Great Danes. Eccles, his 6th of the season, coming off a 2-goal, 3-assist performance against the Big Red of Cornell on Sunday. Erlin and Rack do battle again.
Brack won this one forward to himself last time. Has the clamp again. That's good early success. Hasn't been able to get the ground ball. Let's see if he can get it here.
Brack the victory. He went 16 of 24 with 10 ground balls against number 11 Yale last Tuesday.
Ends the streak at 37 straight for Erlin. An impressive number. Patience here by UMass.
Composure important in these type of games, especially when you have the nation's top team. Jeff Traynor crashing in, and he gives up. UMass sets up. Minutemen averaging 10 goals per game through their first 4. They've lost 2 in a row, scoring at least 10 goals in both. Harvard 11 and number 11 Yale 10, but the defense has not let them off the hook.
Yeah, giving up 14 per right now. That's not the recipe to win games. That's just a good check on the bottom hand. And here comes McClancy. I told you, kid's an athlete.
Scott Marr thinks he's the best in the nation at his position. Offensively and defensively, also sees time on the man down.
Might be right.
McClancy twirls into his shot. Bounces wide, Nanticoke backs it up.
And McClancy on my big board in the top 10. The draft coming up in April.
We'll have a look at your Toronto watch list as well later in the show.
Yeah, a couple of guys on the early watch list, Paparo and Fields, as well as Erlin, out here today. It's a little hidden ball trick. He still got it.
The Thompsons helped persuade that move. Here's the kickoff, but a great save by the freshman Brandon, and he clears.
Trying to go back to the honeypot again. That's where they beat him the first time. That's a good adjustment by the freshman.
Minutemen in transition, but they give it right back for now. Loose ball. Now in deep. Pressure for Colarusso, and he gobbles it up for the Great Danes.
Crease violation there to give them the free possession.
There's another look at Hampton Brandon, a freshman from Atlanta, Georgia. He's just the 3rd ever Georgia player to play under Greg Cannella at UMass Amherst.
A lot of great talent coming out of Georgia the last couple of years. You got Solomon out of Alpharetta at Syracuse right now, and of course Scott Ratliff doing big things, teaching the kids in Georgia right now. That looked high. This is a tough matchup for UMass with the shorty.
That's Reale matched up with them. Anthony Reale, the short stick D-midi. Bounce feed from Nanticoke, and Field scores! My goodness.
Wow. Just wow. I mean, to have the guts to throw that pass when you're on a field that's not your home field. These field turf fields are notoriously bumpy. To have the confidence to throw that pass and then the speed to get it off and get it going through, I mean, that's chemistry, excellence. That's a play that is incredibly difficult. I mean, what are you supposed to do when you're guarding that? That's just beautiful lacrosse. I mean, that's stuff that other guys in the country right now just can't do, or at least won't try. Unbelievable.
8th goal for Fields, and Nanticoke with his 5th assist of the season. And Scott Marr told us that pregame. He still thinks that duo is just scratching the surface. You thought they were good through 3 games. Then you'll see other things coming the rest of the way.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you look at two guys that are both ball dominant, and now they need to deal with another guy who is a legit number 1. Going with a shutoff here, interesting look. But you look at 2 guys that really need the ball, and how are you going to be able to work those guys together to make them better off ball? But individually, they're as good as anybody else in the country, without question. Watch out, here's a mismatch opportunity.
Fields coming off the pick. Nanticoke from behind the shoulder.
What a save. It's good positioning.
Talk about a tough first test for Hampton Brandon. Just the number 1 team in the nation.
I mean, he's doing so good, or pretty good so far. I mean, you look at 2 saves on 3 shots on goal. I mean, that's excellent.
Nearly 6 minutes into the opening quarter.
Took 19 saves from Christian Knight to keep Cornell in the game on Sunday.
Eccles has already scored. His shot disrupted near the crease. Jacob Patterson chases it down, and Albany runs a set in which they'll use 4 attackmen, 2 middies. Patterson can play both spots, midi and attack. Now it's Fields.
Watch for Justin Ray on the back here. He's going to be sneaking around, trying to find some space.
Hunting behind the cage. Nanticoke, tight window, and he found it. Score.
That's what makes him so good. I mean, his stick is just phenomenal. He's in there. He's got two players on him in the zone. They push forward. You see this pass coming in from Fields. He just turns and shoots. Sometimes all you got to do is get the shot off and hit the frame, and that's one of those situations where his stick is just superior.
Greg Cannella calls timeout. Not even halfway done in this first quarter. So we see vice versa this time. Nanticoke found Fields, and then the other helps the other this time around. Let's take a look at what the Great Danes have been up to this year. Of course, we've told you #1 in the country for the 2nd straight week, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we'll see 1 versus 2 this coming Saturday. Despite how this one goes, that is going to be a juicy matchup down in Baltimore.
Yeah, I suspect we'll see our first unanimous #1. At least we should if the voters are paying attention after that one. So I'm looking forward to that matchup for sure. I mean, you talk about some of the most dynamic players in the country right now. You look at the favorites for the Tewaaraton, I think Connor Fields and Connor Kelly are certainly 2 of the guys that are in the mix, especially after that 10-point performance that Kelly had against that Notre Dame defense, which is not normally that porous. So this is going to be a pretty good matchup, but there's still time here. I think when you look at this matchup right now with UMass isn't playing bad. They're having some exceptional players do some exceptional things, and that's tying them up. I don't think their defense is bad. I think their goalie's playing well. They need a better output from their offense right now. They've played very few possessions on offense. Obviously, you're going to deal with that with Erlin, but you're going to have to make the most of those offensive possessions. They've been playing nothing but defense. The defenders are going to get tired. When they get tired, that's when they get exposed, and you can't let that happen against a team as good as Albany.
This is a UMass team that's played 2 ranked teams already. #16 Army to open the season, then hosting Yale last Tuesday. They went down 6-0, so you see the final score of 13-10. A tad misleading, going down 6-0, then 9-2 at the half. Greg Cannella said, we need to start strong. Very crucial in this one, and right now a 3-0 deficit with 8:37 to play in the first.
I mean, this is a hard-nosed lacrosse team. They put their hard hats on. Doesn't matter if they're down 1 or down 10. They're going to go out there and play to the final whistle, and that's what makes them tough to play here.
Rack doing his part. Lifting off the turf, and a violation on the near sideline. It's heading UMass's way.
I've been impressed with Rack so far. He's at the very least making things difficult on Erlin, and that's what you have to do. If you make it a battle and include some of those wing players in the mix, that's going to make things more difficult. You take a couple of checks on the wrist, maybe on the elbow, make you think twice about what you're doing at the faceoff X.
Third time we see the Minutemen settled on offense. Ben Spencer just got rid of it on the far side. Dom St. Laurent, a redshirt junior from Nashua, New Hampshire, one of 4 Bishop Girton products.
Like to see them get a little bit of possession time here. They've been playing a lot of defense.
Buddy Carr looking for room, and he dumps underneath. Chris Connolly, a freshman, at Devin Spencer there, and knocked away. Turnover UMass, and picked up by Colarusso.
That's a really aggressive move out of the cage by Colarusso. We've been seeing good checks on the bottom hand from the defense. It's been dislodging the ball, but Colarusso's the one that made that play, hopping out of the crease.
The Bergmaster brothers on the midfield help bring up the ball for Albany. Jack and Alex. Jack a junior, Alex a freshman. And they leave the field now as Albany's offense sets up 3 different goal scorers already. Eccles, Fields, and Nanticoke.
Usual suspects.
Eccles trickles in from behind, so doesn't Patterson. McClancy out to Nanticoke. Under 7 to go in the first.
And you see them move Nanticoke and Fields up top, playing against the zone. And there's another good save.
Brandon using his body, and then Fields crashing in. Failed backup attempt by Justin Ray. He couldn't believe it, threw his arms up.
And that's the defense just soaking shots. That's Valenza that stepped in front of that one. That's what they're going to need. They're going to need players to step up, and that's a big play. Just getting yourself between the shooter and the ball, or in the goal, rather.
UMass will ride Paparo and Valenza into CAA play later in the season. That duo combined for 48 caused turnovers and close to 60 ground balls. Two players that Greg Cannell is thrilled to have back.
Absolutely.
Paparo a captain, other captains Jake Lazauskas and Shane Rinkus as well. UMass taking its time, looking for a solid possession. They had the ball for quite a bit last time down here on the right. Dump outside, shot, score!
And that's a great skip pass coming through. I mean, that's an excellent finish from Jeff Trainer. And you look at the move, you see a little bit of a pick play, kind of a brush pick coming through on the top, just to expose the defense, get them drawn out a little bit. Then you see that skip pass across the middle, and he knows what to do with it from there. Step down from about 10 yards, stings the far side top corner. That's an excellent finish. As we get another look at it here, skip pass right across the middle, and then overhand shot off stick high. Excellent placement.
The freshman Kevin Tobin found him, Trainer's 6th of the year. Sophomore from Billerica, Massachusetts. He's their returning leading goal scorer and leading scorer overall from last year. He scored 22 points. The losses of Dan Muller, Tyler Bogart, and Grant Consoletti. That trio was crucial on the attack for the Minutemen. And Jeff Trainer emerged at the end of last year. 3-1 game. Crucial for UMass just to get that first one.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to break the seal. And that ground ball by Ireland on that last faceoff is what makes him so dangerous. Coming in, he had 48 ground balls on 67 faceoffs. 72% of the time he comes up with the ball. That's an incredible statistic of how good he is off the turf.
Nanticoke to Fields, bounce shot is good, and UMass comes right back. Albany parting with the score. Now it's 4-1.
And again, you see them putting their best shooters. The Danes put their best shooters up top, and you look at Fields and the way that he sees the ball. If he's able to see it from above the goal, and he's used to playing behind, he's got much more options because he can shoot it, he can find somebody else. It might be time to step out of this zone or at least give them a little bit different look on the defensive side. Got a tweet coming in here from Will Manny, of course, on a CAA championship team here at UMass. He's tuning in. Looks like Jerry Raggany is also watching. So good to hear from the guys that are tuning in and watching the game.
They're keeping Davey Emila in check back in the studio. Cannon's pride. Paparo matched up with Fields, two Tewaaraton watch list members.
And refs letting him play.
You had said it from the top, but just the history of this rivalry, 18th straight year these two teams get together. Scott Marr, complimentary of this trip. He loves coming up here. Coming in now is Bergmaster. He scores on the upper right 90. That is Alex, the freshman, with his first of 2018 and the first of his career.
Yeah, and this is tough because, I mean, it's a good shot on a good dodge, and he's able to find a good spot in the cage, and that's just a player making a good play. And defensively, it's tough because they're not playing poorly on defensively. Like on defense, the other team's just making plays right now.
Noah Rack is doing all he can at X. Ireland and Rack battle here once more.
I'd like to see what some of these UMass Poles can do. Paparo's a great player, and I'd like to see him match up and see what he can do one-on-one, because what they're doing right now just isn't effective.
Rack towed it forward and then batted out by Eric DeLuey, a junior defenseman. And the ground ball gobbled back up by UMass after the caused turnover.
And again, that makes you appreciate how good Ireland is. He just doesn't miss ground balls. If he has the opportunity to pick it up, he does.
Ben Spencer heads onto the turf. Nine in the white.
Like to see UMass take a little bit of the air out of the ball here. If you get a goal, great, but if you let your defense rest a little bit, that's certainly something that they're going to be grateful for.
Here's Kevin Tobin, who found Trainer for UMass's only goal. Now feed, quick in front, bounce shot. That one goes.
It's Buddy Carr, and that's just a great back cut. That's good offense. That's good offense from this UMass team. I mean, they have the capability to go out and score goals. And now, as long as they're out there being productive and being patient, this defense will allow them to score goals, especially without Stone Sims. It's just a great back cut by Carr and an excellent find by Chris Conley as he's able to find the back of the net. I mean, that's just good lacrosse.
Carr's 8th to match the team high with Spencer, who has 8, Devin Spencer, and Connolly with his 4th assist of the season. Credit to UMass for taking its time after the possession. Nearly a caused turnover here is Ireland trying to escape traffic. He does so and gets it over to the left to A.J. Cluck, the long stick. And Cluck drops off to Connor Fields.
Cluck doing a good job staying on that bottom hand. In the matchup I'm looking forward to, Nanticoke and Subak. It's 37-1. Subak 6'5", 205. Nanticoke got a few pounds on him, but two big guys going at each other.
Subak played in just 10 games last year. He's a sophomore starting for Greg Canella's defense. Tremendous stop by Brannon, sliding to his left. Fields on the second effort is shot wide.
Subak also a Hill Academy product out of Toronto,
That's
so
right.
He's seen the sort of box-style players. So I think of anyone that has seen Nanticoke so far, excellent save once again. He's probably got good strategy.
Fields going for it again, but Brannon making the stop. Hampton Brannon was found by Greg Canella due to some of his friends in the industry. Ted Garber, who used to coach with, or Ted Garber's son, that was coached by Canella, found him on a couple of club teams down there, and Paul Thomas is another name that comes to mind, friendly with Greg Canella. That's how they found Hampton Brannon down in Atlanta and recruited him to UMass.
90 seconds here left in the quarter. I wouldn't mind seeing them hold on and see if they can get one right at the end. And just don't give Albany an opportunity to score one of those momentum goals at the end of the quarter. Just take the air out, grind them in.
The sauce kiss. Kick out, nice bring down there by Buddy Carr. Trainer looking for freedom. Spins now to his left, fires up top, looking for the upper right 90. It missiled wide.
They're getting some players open on the crease. They're playing a pick play, coming through the middle. They're cycling guys in and out, and that's how they were able to get Carr open. Watch for guys popping off the middle.
45 seconds to play in the first quarter. Number 1 Albany and UMass. Midweek matinee. Feed by St. Laurent.
That was the look. That was the look. They just missed it. St. Laurent was going to come around the corner and have the opportunity to take that shot through traffic. Colarusso wouldn't have been able to see him coming. That's good offense. That's a tough call, probably going to be a trip.
Our first flag of the day, 20 seconds. It's a delayed penalty. Nanticoke and Fields underneath. The big man trying to bulldoze through.
Wow, Rinkus, well done.
The double comes, the shot wide by Eccles, and the clock sits at 1 second. UMass did back it up.
I mean, Rinkus coming in at 5'9", 175, 180 rather, 5'9", 180, coming down the tracks. Nanticoke at 235. Impressive that he was able to stand him up. Good toughness.
So not the case. It is Albany's possession. 1 second on the clock. Fields with the ball in the opposite corner. He lets the clock dribble down. 1 quarter in the books. Number 1 Albany showing its offensive firepower early, but UMass making it a fight. And welcome back to Garber Field in Amherst, Massachusetts. Chris Marshall alongside. I'm Brendan Glasheen. 5-2 lead for Albany at the end of 1. We saw a little bit of everything. Fields, Nanticoke, Eccles with a couple of goals. Also the midfielder, Alex Bergmaster, getting his first of the season. And here we see Albany on the man up.
Yeah, and this team is just surgical on their man up. Well, spoke too soon there.
This year, just 5 for 17, 29%. UMass, though, has struggled on the man-up defense, allowing 8 man-up goals this year on 17 attempts.
There's 4 seconds left here on this this opportunity. It was a 30-second technical. We're back even.
Trainer scurries back in for the Minutemen. Albany ranks 2nd in the country in both goals per game and goals allowed per game. They're leading the country in a lot of categories, individually and as a team.
Yeah, Colarusso coming in, 5 goals per game, leading the nation. He's having a pretty nice year so far.
Yep, 2nd in save percentage as well. DeHoga Nanticoke drawing the double feed to Fields, who cuts in. Back to his feet. And Scott Marr called timeout from the sideline.
I can't believe he kept that in his stick and was able to clear out. That's an unbelievable play. That's a good timeout. I mean, you look at Fields getting just hammered there on the crease. Bamboo Forest collapsing in on him, but he's able to keep that in his stick and get a good timeout.
Connor Fields with 2 goals, 1 assist. He is 1 point away from 300 in his career as you take a look on the Tewaaraton watch list. And he was a finalist last year, and these numbers are just insane. You see the total. One thing that's not listed here, last year he had 117 points, which is the 4th most in a single season in NCAA history. Yeah,
he's a spectacular player, and you look at what he brings to the team in terms of his split. Last year, 117 points, 55 goals, 62 assists. He's such an unselfish player. He's got great vision. He's good at everything. And that's exactly the kind of player you need on your squad. And when you talk about the Tewaaraton Trophy, I think this is just going to come down to team success. When you look at these players, this is a team that's good enough to win the championship. Maryland's a team that's good enough to win the championship. You look at Yale with Ben Reeves and maybe Pat Spencer for Loyola. All those players are good enough to win. So I think it comes down to how much you're going to elevate the players around you and how deep you're going to carry your team, because this is going to be an exciting team or exciting season. And you look at the talent, it's really up in the air, at least at this point. Gutterding in the mix as well.
So far at X today, Ireland has won 6 of 8. And we've also seen not just Noah Rack, but Tom Myers has gotten some time at X. He has taken the last 3, and he is 0 for 3 at X for the Minutemen.
What I will say is they're making it difficult. he's not winning them cleanly like he was at the end of the game against Cornell. And that, I think, is half the battle. If you can just make things difficult on him, maybe you can tire him out as the game goes along. I mean, you start putting a pole out there, then you've given up. But I think right now they're giving him enough trouble that he's at least having to think about winning the faceoffs.
Scott Marr told us before the game, Ireland saw 5 different looks as far as specialists are concerned at the X, and that's when you know you're having a tough day on the Cornell side as Fields comes up empty.
Yeah, when you get down to number 5 on the depth chart, I'm not even sure you're still special. You're just
Fair
on the
point.
team. But that's how great he has been. 91% coming in, unbelievable. Only lost 6 out of 67 taken coming into today. Back into the zone. It's a good rotation.
UMass, first time on offense in the second quarter.
I mean, it's a good slide, good ground ball from Carl.
They give it right back.
Yeah, and Colarusso being active on the crease. Reminds me a little bit of another real active goalie from years past, Matt Russell, one of those great Navy teams in the mid-2000s. He was the guy that always seemed to have his stick in the passing lane. Not afraid to get out of the crease and mix it up.
McClancy, the one to clear there for Albany. A jack of all trades player. Fields does not use the screen. Nanticoke is hanging out down near the crease. Each player has found each other for an assist and a goal. A lot of great tandems in Albany history, a lot of expectation. Fields launching wide.
All that had to do was hit the frame. It didn't look like the goalie ever saw it. Right around the corner. It's a shot angle. He can shoot it from any angle.
Nanticoke looking for the bounce. That might have got deflected in the middle. Bounced around off the toe.
And that one off the official.
Fields down to a knee, staying with it. Nanticoke has plenty of daylight. Another stop by the UMass D.
Just keeping your stick in the passing lane. Make things difficult on the shooter.
Ben Spencer. Also a two-way midi with the deflection. No scoring yet, nearly 4 minutes into quarter number 2. Oh man, wow. Fields to Nanticoke, my goodness, another outstanding play, senior to freshman.
And it's like one of those situations where you look at an NFL quarterback and he puts it where only his player can catch it. And then a great player makes a great play. You see the BTB. I mean, it's great vision. He catches it down by his feet and then one half cradle and then gets it towards the goal. When you're in that tight, all you have to do is get it towards the goal. That's as good as any goal you're going to see all season. Spectacular play by spectacular players.
6-2 Albany.
Little extracurriculars going down there on the other side.
Yep.
Let's see if the official, I'm not sure if you could see it, but that one was Cluck holding on to the stick as it went under his arm. He had a little chicken arm in there holding on to that one. Rinkus trying to get free. Sneaky wing stuff. Used to be in my playbook.
This is Myers again at X. Not Noah Rack for the Minutemen. Myers has yet to win a faceoff here in 3 tries. And once again, Ireland is 6 for 8.
And Ireland's got it. There it is, it's pulled out.
Nanticoke fumbles it, ground ball is his. This high-powered attack Nanticoke searching for options. That one bounces in for a score.
There aren't very many college players that can do that. I mean, you watch the way that he puts the spin on the ball. First, he just muscles in, uses all that weight, a little bit of a hidden ball trick, but he comes around the corner, does this sidewinder shot that improves his angle coming across his body rather than switching hands. This is a super high degree of difficulty move. You see a lot of the indoor players that are able to do those sidewinders. It actually spins the ball down, and so it pops back up towards the goalie. That's an exceptional play. There's not much you can do about that.
Back-to-back goals for the freshman. The 2017 #1 recruit, according to Inside Lacrosse. 2 straight goals for Albany, 5-goal lead on UMass.
The fans starting to fill up on the far side along the fence. Get some signs for the hometown team.
This is UMass's fourth of 5 straight home games. Feed to the right side, shot good.
Might be time to talk it over. You look at when Albany starts moving like this, then it can get away from you. We saw them against Cornell in the final 2 minutes and 30 seconds, put 4 on the board when they really needed to, but now they're really starting to play well, and it looks like that's what Coach Cannella is going to do. This is a good time for a timeout. You got to talk it over, regroup with your defense. They've been playing well. I don't think they're playing a game that should see them down 6 goals. We're just seeing some really exceptional play from a very good offensive team.
Earlin, the face-off man, his 2nd goal of the year. On a great feed, just a wheel play where he goes right around the right side of Connor Fields' back. So Fields has now reached 300 career points with that dish.
Now you just take a minute to think about how many points that is.
Yeah.
He's still got plenty of time this season. 300 points is an awful lot of points. I mean, that's a crazy number when you think about the number he's actually probably going to end up with. 300 is a huge, huge milestone. And really elite company.
Once again, these 2 teams have gotten together each of the last 18 years. Albany has won the last 5 meetings against the Minutemen. And UMass, of course, trying to build during this really tough non-conference schedule. The chance to play their 3rd-ranked team this year. It kind of dips down a little bit as far as competition is concerned after this, but this is a team that went to the CAA title game last year, picked 3rd in the conference. Greg Cannella, despite the tough schedule, has not given his team any breaks. He expects a lot out of these guys.
Well, they have losses, but they don't have bad losses, and I think that's an important distinction to make. This is a team, that always has a tough schedule, and occasionally they'll knock off some teams that come in here expecting to get a pushover, and that's never the thing that they're going to get here, especially in Amherst. But this is a team that's going to build as the season goes along. These tough matchups at the beginning of the season will help them as they get into conference play, and I think they've got a real shot this season. The CAA is wide open.
Yeah, given the way Towson has struggled to open up the year, Hofstra's game against Georgetown was postponed. They'll get UNC this coming weekend, another tough challenge in the CAA. So at least the teams in the conference are presenting challenges to themselves in the non-conference.
Yeah, I mean, Delaware might be the team that's playing the best right now.
Yeah, no kidding. They are in action today, looking to start 4-0 under new head coach Ben DeLuca. 3-0 UMass, or pardon, 3-0 Albany in this 2nd quarter. Fields has the shorty. Nanticoke triple teamed practically, searching for help.
Again, this is the matchup I've been waiting for. Let's see if he keeps it. Again, back in the zone.
The Bergmasters trade the ball off. Alex to Fields. Cross feed. And Mitch Laffin with the misfire. Just a sophomore. He's from Syracuse.
Laffin's been getting some good burn for this team.
Yeah, a player who made the America East All-Rookie squad a year ago, and he scored 11 goals for this talented Albany offense. He's got 1 this year. Field surveying. And then Ray comes in.
And that's the kind of play you get out of Connor Fields. He gets all the eyes because he's such a good passer. He just surveys the field. He sees the matchup. He's got Paparo right there and then just swings it in. It's just a good back cut by Ray. And this UMass team isn't able to recover, but that's good vision. It's a good pass, hits him right in stride, and Ray's able to just turn the corner, take that championship step.
It's already 6 points for Fields. Last year when these two got together on March 1st, it was Albany's home opener. Fields had 7 points for the whole game, 3 goals, 4 assists.
Well, he's well on his way today.
Nanticoke with 3 goals, 2 assists already.
Be interesting to see what Coach Marr does in the second half if Albany continues to do what they're doing right now. Obviously, we saw the majority of the starters take a seat in the second half against Drexel. Very few subs in the game against Cornell. Short bench. Obviously, a different scoreline there, but still a surprisingly few number of players.
Fields with the blast. Short underneath. Nanticoke there. He comes in and flings it home in the upper left 90 this time. The 4th goal for the freshman, Dahoga Nanticoke.
It's just virtually unstoppable. And he turns the corner. It's such an unpredictable move if you're the goalie. He's got it in one hand, and then he just throws it over the top. You just have to be in the right spot. I mean, you really have to guess. There's no reaction that you're going to be able to make once the ball has left his stick because it's 18 inches off GLE. As you see him turn the corner here, he throws the stick up, and it's a great location that he puts it in, but there's just no chance for the goalie to make that save. I mean, Brandon's been playing pretty well, all things considered. I mean, the stats don't tell the whole story of the saves that he's been making.
5-0 run for the Great Danes in this second quarter. Up 10-2. UMass cut it to 5-2 with 3:18 left in the first. All I'll say is don't forget this team trailed big time to Yale last Tuesday and then scored the game's last 6 and made it the game. So don't count the Minutemen out just yet. Need something to go their way, though.
It's a good trail check.
Patterson never got a shot off. But over to help him out is Justin Ray, who scored 4 goals last year against these Minutemen.
Well, and this is just what the Ireland effect is. It seems like a lifetime ago that UMass had a possession on offense.
Yeah, Myers has taken the last 6. Noah Rack took the first 7 and won 2. So for the game, Ireland is 11 of 13 at X. He's only lost 9 faceoffs all year. Fields trying to ram in tight to the crease.
That's good defense. I mean, you see him try and throw that fake BTB. Wow, good save.
Valenza with the defense, and then the shot stopped by Brannon, who remains in there. And then UMass gives it right back. Valenza got tied up.
Well, again, that's actually a reaction save.
It was Paparo.
There from Brannon, as he's able to get his arm out there and make that save. I mean, whatever it takes. Get your body between the goal and the ball.
7 minutes until halftime. Albany riding a 5-goal run here. Eccles at the dish.
You see UMass just getting a couple of unlucky plays. I mean, Paparo doesn't drop the ball like that. And then it just catches off the side of his stick and then off his lid, and then he can't find it, and then it goes right back to purple.
Field skips, and the rocket goes down for Albany. Zach Wolf, the short stick, with his first of the year.
And again, always with his head up and then straight across. Good look. So much space there as the zone is sloughed in a little bit because they get the rotation going. They're not able to get back there in time. Again, it's just good offense.
Connor Fields entered this game second in the nation in assists per game at close to 3.7 per. He has 5 assists in this one with 2 goals, 7 points for the senior.
When you look at the performances we saw this weekend, 7 helpers coming from Connor Kelly. We had 6 helpers coming from Pat Spencer in their win over Holy Cross. There are some guys that are out there playing at another level.
At X, McClancy coming over for the Great Danes. Ground ball on the sideline. UMass possession. They had one in the opening seconds of this second quarter, but first time, long time, they possessed the ball.
Yeah, good 7 or 8 minutes. A lot of defense. It's tough when you're giving up goals that quickly and then you've been playing for 7 or 8 minutes straight. You just don't have an opportunity to catch your breath. And like I said, if you play tons of defense against this squad, you're going to get exposed.
Kevin Tobin, freshman from Reading, Mass, dumps underneath. This is Devin Spencer, Ben's younger brother. Both from Danville, California.
It's outside of San Francisco.
You're familiar with the area.
I am. My aunt lives there.
Tight window for Tobin. Shot off the right. The intensity remains for Albany. You see J.D. Colarusso shouting to his D in front of him. Got to give Albany credit. You have that big matchup with Maryland, number 2 Maryland on Saturday. Not looking ahead and taking it to this UMass team.
Yeah, I was expecting this Danes team to come out firing after a close call against Cornell on Sunday, and they're looking much cleaner.
St. Laurent gave it a whirl. This one trickles off the left, and Colarusso in the thick of that one. 5 minutes or so now left in the half. UMass has not scored since the 3:18 mark of the first quarter. St. Laurent has it chopped away, loose in front of the crease. And Matt Perla, the defenseman, gobbles it up for the Great Danes.
Kyle McClancy. We're calling his number a lot today. That's a great play. On paper, Shorty against Buddy Carr is a good matchup, but not when it's McClancy.
McClancy dishes now to the near side. Albany sets up again. Some good run there by Josh Egan, 43. Nanticoke tight, loose again. Defense swarmed. Fields comes over to grab it.
It's like maybe Brandon might have gotten a piece of that one as it was coming by. Deflected in the middle. It's the 2-man game there in the middle.
Fields has it broken up by Shane Rinkus, the long stick midi.
That's a good double.
Rinkus, a senior from Pembroke, Massachusetts, his 4th caused turnover of the season.
Look out.
Nanticoke to Fields, yes!
Automatic. It's a good ride. They get the ball out. Connor Fields in there one-on-one, 99 out of 100. It's one of those things where it's tough because you're going to give the goal up almost for sure, but you look at him and he's just a little bit of a body fake and then puts it in the lower corner. All you can do is be as big as you can and hope that it hits you. And we saw him do the same thing right at the end of the game against Cornell. He's shooting into a swimming pool when you get him in that tight one-on-one. And this is about what we saw in the first half of their game against Drexel. So I suspect we'll see some guys coming in the second half.
Outside of Albany's first goal, Sean Eccles scored it, and Kyle McClancy had the assist. Nanticoke or Fields has been involved on every single goal, assist or scoring it. 11 of the 12.
That's an impressive statistic.
It's mind-boggling is what it is.
I mean, it just tells you what those guys are capable of doing. And I think when you look at the matchup, we only saw Nanticoke take 3 shots against Cornell. He had 1 and 2. 5 points for Fields, but you know he scored 3 points in the final frame, so he was pretty quiet for the first part as well. So you see those guys come out and really try to make a statement here in this first half.
St. Laurent with another shot attempt.
So the flag came down on the face-off. Let's see what the call is here. Going to be a hold, so 30 seconds here. Let's see if the Minutemen can take advantage, get one on the board here in the second.
That was Noah Rack, by the way, back out on the face-off X. And he got the victory for the Minutemen.
Just 6 shots on the day so far for UMass.
Zach Wolf with the penalty. First look on the UMass side as far as man up is concerned this year. 4 for 16, make it 5 for 17. They stop the bleeding.
That's a big goal. I mean, you gotta start somewhere when you're chipping away at this lead, and that's a big one. And still 2 minutes and 37 seconds left in the quarter. It's a great cut inside. I mean, you got a quick play when you need a goal in that 30-second extra man opportunity, and they were able to back at the defender and get that one in the back of the net.
First goal for Clayton Proctor in his career, a freshman from St. David's, Pennsylvania. He did not play against Yale last Tuesday for reasons we do not know, but he is out there today against Albany, and he scores his first career goal to make it a 9-goal deficit. And Noah Rack with back-to-back face-off wins. Still 2:30 left in this half. Let's see if UMass can go on a run.
And Rink has thought about it.
I felt
That's
the same
high.
way. Another flag comes in. Shot in tight. Score!
I mean, all UMass needs is the ball right now. I mean, they're getting the possession. They're getting the foul. Let's see. It's going to be interference. Looks like he came in high. See what the call is from the official. Caught him in the chin, I think. It's going to be a slash. So the goal stays. Looks like they're going to be man up on the next possession here. This is a big face-off for UMass. If they can get another one here, it's still a tall mountain, but they're making progress.
Billy Philpott with the goal, his first of the season.
Yeah, as you see, it's just a lift coming through from McClancy. He tries to get that bottom hand, and it just skips up. He misses it and then catches him right in the chin. You're going to get that call every time. See no player for Albany on the far side as they're man down here.
McClancy, as Chris mentioned, with the penalty. Ground ball. Snared by the Great Danes.
That's such a heads-up play.
Oh man, Ireland, what a play! Going out to Colarusso.
And again, you look at Rack. He won that to himself. He pulled it back between his legs, and he couldn't come up with the ground ball. But you see the turnover coming the other way. That's smart. That's smart.
Trainer directs traffic. Rinkus in on that ground ball. 25 seconds on this man up. UMass is already 1 for 1. Albany this year on man-up defense, 3 for 9. Trainer outside Connolly. Spencer the point man.
Clancy getting ready to come in.
St. Laurent no good, loose in front. And the pickup by Troy Ray.
Looks like that's going to be a Ward going against Ray. UMass gets the ball back, but looks like they're all even.
That's right. As we have a minute to go in the first half. Albany started with 7 straight goals in this half. UMass has scored the last 2. Nice jab step by Spencer, twirling and shot busted. And it's grabbed by Sean Gleason. The long pole coming up.
Yeah, Gleason getting the nod today. Sims out.
Yep, Stone Sims, if you're just joining us, lower body injury, not playing for Albany on defense. 24 seconds for this well-oiled machine. It's been a bit, though, for Albany.
Job for some fireworks here. Final 19 seconds.
Start a countdown. Pass to Fields, cutting in front, shot, score. Pretty finish by Davis Diamond. First of the year.
Boca Raton, Florida. See a 0 back out there on the field. But you look at that finish inside, it's a catch and shoot. I mean, basically a quick stick, but you see just the work. It's a V cut from Connor Fields. He gets it from Nanticoke and then gets it inside to Diamond. And with 10 seconds left, it's not out of the question. They could score another one here, the way that Ireland's been playing. But it's just surgical precision. It's excellent lacrosse.
Diamond just a sophomore. Last year, he didn't score any goals. So the first of his career. He did not play in the Cornell game on Sunday.
Ireland went early.
9 seconds for Rack and company. Rack scored a couple this season, bopped out. Loose once more. St. Laurent had it, but a whistle blows. And the officials will let this one progress to halftime. We'll send it back to the LSN Broadcast Center now after a quick 2-goal run for the Minutemen. Albany comes back and scores sophomore Davis Diamond to make it 13-4. We'll go back to the studio and join you in a few moments. As we said before, 12 of the 13 goals have involved either number 5, Connor Fields, the senior, or number 1, the top recruit in the country coming into this year, the freshman, Tahoga Nanticoke.
And they're just having a really good game. You talk about players that are special players, transcendent talents. Both these guys fall into that category, and we're seeing it on full display here today. And I think that's a really impressive thing. You're also seeing the TD Ireland effect is UMass, when they've had possession, have been able to create some pretty good opportunities. I mean, they've taken 8 shots that have hit the frame. 4 of them have gone in. So they're shooting relatively efficiently. The problem is they've only taken 8 shots, and they're going to need to find a way to keep the possession longer, to keep the ball off their defensive side of the field, because when it's over there, it's been trouble.
Ireland went 12 of 18 at X.
That's about as good as anyone's been able to do against him so far this season.
9 ground balls as well for the sophomore. He made the Tour-Tom watch list last week. Nanticoke with 4 goals, 3 assists. Fields, 3 goals, 6 assists.
That is an unbelievable stat line for just being halftime.
Yeah, you'll take that for the game any day of the week.
About as many points as I scored my whole career. More, in fact.
Here's McClancy, who had 1 assist in the first half on 2 shots. And you can't look at the stat sheet when it comes to Kyle McClancy. He does a lot off the ball to impact this Albany team in transition.
Had a great one-on-one takeaway against Buddy Carr coming from X as well. I mean, he's as good an all-round player as anyone else in the country.
Ireland stayed on the field as an attackman. Fields' pass to him was well out of reach.
I think the other guys you look at, maybe Austin Sims, Ryan Conrad. I mean, some good old-fashioned two-way midfielders. They are certainly fun to watch, and he's in the conversation for best of the bunch.
UMass scored 2 straight after Albany scored the first 7 goals of the second quarter. McClancy, Egan fires, and that one off the pipe. It might have ricocheted off the net to the left. Either way, UMass will take it and look to clear.
Scanone in the goal now for UMass. He started every other game so far this season. Played the majority of the minutes.
Sean Scanone, a junior from East Islip, New York. He was pulled midway through the second quarter against Yale. The team was down 6-0, so Greg Cannella had nothing else to do but make a change.
And we've seen him go between the goalies. I'm not going to go out and say any of those goals were the freshman's fault. He made some pretty darn good saves. He was just getting peppered.
UMass just got a shot off, backed up by the Minutemen.
And you look at the stat line, 34 shots coming from Albany. They shoot pretty efficiently. Only 48 shots for the entire game combined in the game yesterday between UNC and Denver. So that gives you some perspective as to the number of shots he saw.
And UMass just got 10 shots off.
8 of them hit the frame, though. So, I mean, if you're going to take a silver lining from a stat like that, I mean, that's the one.
Feet in front, Matt Perla using his body, 6 feet, 195, to cause that turnover. And Colarusso looks to whip it out.
A little bit of a force in there to Tobin. But, I mean, you got to do something.
Right, UMass looking for answers. Bergmaster stopped by the junior Scanoni.
It's a good save. When you talk with Coach Cannella, you got to go with who's seeing the ball. And that's a good place to start.
Scanoni played in just 4 games last year. He was the backup to DJ Smith, who was an outstanding goalie in the CAA. A lot of fun to watch. Kept UMass in a bunch of games, and why they ended up making a run, Smith kind of goes lost because you talk so much about Rack and their talented midfield a year ago. Here is Devin Spencer, who has had a quiet afternoon. Leads the team with 8 goals. Now Tobin draws McClancy.
We've had a little bit of success trying to spread this defense out. And Colarusso's been good in terms of his save percentage, so he hasn't given away a ton of easy goals. And so just letting the players shoot from outside.
That was Ben Spencer.
Nice little hitch move.
Ben Spencer bounce shot, might have nicked the pipe, but Colarusso with the stop sliding left.
Had it covered. It's a good step, good aggressive step. I mean, that's the other thing you like about Colarusso. He just gets the ball out so quick. I mean, McClancy, I think, got his feet moving a little earlier than he needed to on that one, but you look at Albany on the clear, they're so good at finding the open players, and they're really quick. And then once they get past you, they get it on the offensive side. That's when they're most dangerous coming out of the unsettled.
Forget about it at that point.
I mean, it's going to be tough. You get a one-on-one with any of those guys on offense. I mean, people don't talk enough about Ray and how good he is. But any one of those guys, one-on-one, 9 out of 10, going to find the back of the net.
It's funny you say that. Greg Cannella said the same thing. People forget after Nanticoke and Fields. Oh, yeah, Justin Ray. He scored a total of 58 points last year. Turnover, UMass.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to shake a stick at, 58 points. There are plenty of teams in the country that don't have one 58-point guy.
Filipkowski brought it up in transition. Nanticoke was there to back it up for the Great Danes. Personnel changes on both sides. Fields sees plenty of daylight.
A little bit of a graze of the helmet there.
Paparo coming in. Mike Elcock, also there.
That's not the look. Hey, you look at this. When UMass has been patient, they've been able to make things work. I mean, there's such a thing as too much urgency, and I think we might be seeing that a little bit now.
An unorganized start to this second half for both teams. 5.5 minutes gone by. No scoring yet. Scott Marr told us just before he left for halftime, we'd see how the first 5 minutes went, and then we might make personnel changes. I think right now he wants to keep this unit on the field.
Honestly, I don't think that's a terrible plan. I mean, they got a big one coming up next weekend. Obviously, you never want to go out there and risk injuries, but at the same time, if you're playing well, you want to ride that momentum going into a huge, huge matchup with Maryland.
Chris Ryan, 30 in the purple, got rid of it, out to Eccles. Soars over the top, Fields to back it up.
Sneaky. Looked like he was gonna move it and then went right over the shoulder of his defender.
Fields was just draped underneath, but was there to back it up.
He's so smooth when he moves across.
That duo at it again, bottom shelf this time, Nanticoke with his second 5-goal game for the freshman this year.
Well, and again, you see him able to reach back across his body and score this goal. It's a good look. It's a great back cut. But again, he makes the extra fake. And watch where the goalie is when he shoots this. He gets him out of the cage. You expect a player to make that shot sooner. And by the time that he does shoot it, he's got nothing but nylon in his way. So that's just a good individual effort. Once again, these two guys are putting on an absolute clinic.
We gloated about Nanticoke's freshman debut at Syracuse, scoring 5 goals against the number 8th ranked Orange, 15-3 win at the Carrier Dome. And the minute we saw that performance, I think everyone agreed, wow, this kid is for real, and he does it again here today at UMass. And you mentioned this pregame off the air. He took just 3 shots against Cornell. He is back today.
Yeah, he certainly is. And, I think they just weren't clicking. You get into your head a little bit when you're the number 1 team. It's the first time ever. None of these guys know what that feels like, where you've got a big target on your back. And I think there's a little bit of a mental hurdle in their first game at number 1 that they had to get over. I mean, they seem to be over it right now, which is an important thing to be. But when you have to do it, going from number 2 to number 1 is a giant jump.
Also, shout out to Connor Fields with another accomplishment with his 9 points today. He has climbed into the top 10 in NCAA Division I history in points. At 10 right now at the moment. Just about midway through this quarter. UMass looking for an answer. What a stop off the left foot by Colarusso.
Again, he did such a great job. He's been so active. He gets out of the crease to go over there and then gets back. This Fields trying to take advantage of the unsettled situation again.
I know you said this already, but UMass has not played all that poorly. They're getting beat on some really impressive offense.
Well, you look at it this way. You take Fields and Nanticoke out of this game, and it's a different scoreline. I mean, granted, they haven't had a ton of possession time, but they've played all right. I don't think that the scoreline fairly reflects the effort to which they're playing. And I know it's not just effort, but I think they're not playing a bad game. We're just seeing some exceptional play from some guys who are as good as anybody else in the country, as good as anybody else we've seen in the last couple of years.
Nanticoke hanging out in the middle. Fields crashing. He scores as the flag comes in. 4th goal of the day for Connor Fields, a 10-point outing. Make it 11 points for Fields.
When he comes in, and again, he leans into the push a little bit, but he got 2 hands on his back, but he's just able to create some space for himself. And this is that fluid motion. When you look at him, he gets his feet under his body, and he's just able to get in front of it. Slithers, I guess, is the best way. He can just get under the arm and get past his defender, and then he's in front of you, and then it's over.
8 points for Nanticoke and 11 points for Fields. $19 points midway through the 3rd for that duo. Still a work in progress, according to Scott Marr before the game. They have a lot of potential to be a Fields, Lyle Thompson, or a Lyle Miles Thompson tandem. Scratching the surface was the phrase he used with us talking pregame. He may still feel that way.
I mean, that's some rare air that you're talking about with those guys. You talk about some of the top duos of all time in terms of their production.
Fields with the rock.
He's got the shorty here. This is a tough matchup for them. Wow.
Off the top of the crossbar and down. Connor Fields is an assassin.
I mean, you can't put that in a better spot, and he's so quick. And you watch him. He's got the shorty. He just surveys the field, takes a turn, just one step, and then stings the top far side of the corner. I mean, look at how casual he is when he takes this shot. He just turns and shoots it. And he hides his stick, too. Watch where his stick is when he turns here. It's behind his body.
Yeah, it is.
And he's the kind of player that can make the pass from that same position and come across, as we see Fields and Nanticoke onto the sideline now. But that's what makes him so dangerous. He can shoot that, he can pass that, all with the same sort of flick of the wrist.
Just another day at the office for number 5 and number 1 for Albany. 16-4. Great Danes. Troy Ray grabs it for Albany. He is Justin's brother. Both of them seniors from Rocky Point, New York. Troy's had a great year as a long stick. 8 ground balls, 5 caused turnovers, both team highs for a defenseman coming in.
Yeah, and you got Patterson and Laffin in for Nanticoke and Fields now as well. So I think we might see Coach Marr emptying the bench out here.
Yeah, Laffin just 1 goal. Last year he had 11. We'll see if he gets some more run as far as possession goes.
And Patterson's been coming in out of the box, and he's just a matchup nightmare, but now we get to see him play down low a little bit.
That's where that duo settles for now. Both Bergmasters are on the field. Sean Eccles, he got the scoring started today. 38, who has the ball now.
When you hear the calls coming from the sideline, get some action as you see them start to go into their rotation.
Alex Bergmaster has already scored today, knocked out.
It's a good look.
Scanoni clears. Here comes UMass.
Colarusso standing tall.
Yep, Phil Pott looking for his second of the day.
And we got numbers coming the other way.
Here they come, trucking up the field. Laffin to Bergmaster. This is Jack now, the junior. And Patterson had it clipped out by the Minutemen.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to see this team take their foot off the gas. You look at the players coming in a part of this second unit, they're going to be important pieces for this team as they progress. Depth is something that we've seen be a huge factor down the road, especially tournament time.
You'd also think they'd be hungry for playing time. Not a lot of guys showed or got a lot of playing time in that Cornell game. So for guys like Laffin, you want to get out there and improve yourself to Scott Marr. You belong in this rotation. I'm sure that's what's going through their minds.
And UMass has been effective when they've been in their offense and they've been able to settle down and go through their progressions. They just haven't had the opportunity. A little bit of a miscommunication on that rotation. But again, Albany's defense standing tall.
3 minutes to go here in the third. Fields and Nanticoke are off the field now for Albany with this 12-goal lead. Connor Fields today with 12 points. 5 goals, 7 assists. That's tied for second all-time in a single game in Albany history.
The thing that's so outrageous about that number is it just looked so easy for him, the way he was playing, almost effortless. Occasionally you'll see a guy out there who has, world-class speed, and it doesn't even look like he's trying. That's what it looks like when Connor Fields is out on the field.
Davis Diamond with his second today, firing over the left shoulder of a UMass defenseman. Here's another look.
Yeah, it looked like that one caught the outside of the net as we saw Scanoni go to the side, but it certainly did not. Again, but Davis Diamond, nice to see him get on the board for the first time here, like you said, this in his career with 2 today.
That's right. No goals last year in just a couple of games.
Sure, he probably misses some of the sunny weather, especially this time of year.
Well, he'll get a chance for some warmer weather down at College Park this weekend. Number 2 Maryland hosting number 1 Albany on Saturday at noon. We'll be talking about it all week on Lac Sports Network, I would guess.
That's tough. That one hits the official. You see a face-off win or at least and that's where the frustration comes out. Two flags, and then you see another one coming in. We're going to see a hat and another flag. Watch them mixing it up, and this is tough. You obviously you come out here, you play hard, you're doing your best. Some frustrations boiling over. We talked about the score line and what that means. Obviously, you're out here. You're having a tough day. You're down 13 goals. You're not playing a game where you should be down that many goals, which is the disappointing part as we see these guys come together here in the middle. Erlin's upset, and then we see a push in the back. That one looks like 50. They're coming in. It's Gleason. We'll see what the officials are going to decide
Tom Myers,
here.
too, for UMass.
But, I mean, we're seeing some frustration come out for the home squad, and then a couple of guys from the Great Danes defending themselves, but we see a little conference down there in the middle. And that's just unfortunate. We see the official. I mean, that's fundamentally where they should be, and that one just pops out and hits him. And then again, we just see the frustration. He comes in high. Erlin's upset about it. Gets one, then two pushes in the back, and then we start to see him mixing it up. And again, it's the guy that retaliates is always the guy that's going to get caught here. And you saw the first flag come out. It was probably going to be a slash. Then you see it come again. It was there. Here's where the big hit comes, and then that's where the rest of the extracurriculars start to happen there in the middle of the field. So it'll be interesting to see, how many of these guys, if any, take a seat. Because I suspect, at the very least, we'll see a couple of non-releasable 2-minute or more penalties, and maybe some ejections.
Peter Schwab was in on that. Myers, as you mentioned, Gleason. Lots of bodies. Minutemen and Great Danes. A rivalry that has extended 18 years. They get together each season. You should see Scott Marr. He told us it's one of our better rivalries, and we see the blood thicken a little bit out at midfield.
Well, and you see it. It's a fine line where intensity, and it boils over. And it's always disappointing to see when something like that happens, because we've seen a good, clean game. Obviously, it's been more effective scoring here on the highlights, but we'll see what the officials still out there meeting. But also, love to hear what you guys at home are thinking. Hit us up on Twitter at CMarshallLSN. Getting a couple of coming in. UK Lax fan tuning in. Like the wow call on that goal by Connor Fields. I'm not sure there's any other way to describe what some of these guys are doing. It's just a gut reaction. Like, I can't believe that he just made that happen. But the official coming up to the scorers table here. But send us a tweet. We'd love to hear from you. What you think of the game? As both coaches now coming in to chat it over. Probably going to be deciding if some of these guys are going to be taking their gear off.
Today's officials for this contest: Sean Murphy, Scott McCall, and James Gorelnick. Coach Marr and Greg Cannella pregame were sharing time together, just catching up. Had a chance to snap a quick photo of the two guys just getting together. Long time. These two have been around. Scott Marr in his 18th year and Greg Cannella his 24th. Cannella signing a contract extension this past fall. He'll be at UMass through 2019-2020.
Yeah, it's done a good job here. And I mean, you mentioned that, and reading through some of the game notes for this one, they had some fun facts about things that did not exist yet when Cannella was hired. First being the Nintendo 64. I had one of those, and the DVD player. As well as Google. So, I mean, you look at the
long list.
The tenure that he has had here, and it's been an impressive one. He's had some real successful teams, and there have been some real successful teams that have come in here and taken some big L's. So you look at this squad, and like I said earlier in the broadcast, this is a team that you don't look forward to playing, because they're going to give you a really tough game no matter what. And like I said, the scoreline isn't reflecting, I think the amount of difficulty that the other team, that Albany's having playing against them. So it's tough when you see such a big number on the scoreboard. If you're not watching the game, you'd think it would be a lot more lopsided than it actually is. I mean, we're just seeing some special play from a couple of really special players.
We're in the third quarter, 17-4. Number 1 Albany on top. We had a scrum at midfield a few moments ago. Both teams going after it, and both head coaches are getting word from the officials about what the final verdict is. Here's another look at it.
And again, you see, it's just a tough break because you win the face-off. Tom Myers might have been his first win of the game, and then it hits the official, and then you see a slash come out there, and then Myers comes in and just lets him have it, and that's when all havoc comes loose. You see the players coming out to protect their guys, and like I said, disappointing as the officials coming back out. We'll see what the word is here, as Canella's going to bring all his boys in. Same with Coach Marr. The official's still down at the scoring table, writing down everything that he saw there. He had a little pad when he was talking to the coaches. So, I mean, 3, 4 guys. I mean, we might be seeing some 3-on-3 lacrosse coming out here. So it'll be interesting to see, 1, who's going to start with the ball, and 2, how many guys are going to be sitting down.
UMass has 4 bodies out on the field now. Scanoni in goal. That's a certain for now. Also out there for the Minutemen, they've brought in a couple more reserves to get some run.
Pandi's out there. Pandi's, rather. Yeah, 3 poles in the goalie so far. And then there's three short sticks there standing in the middle. So it's unclear how many of those guys. Looks like 2 guys taking a knee right now for Albany.
So Tom Myers, the face-off man for UMass, and T.D. Earlin, for Albany, also in trouble. And then also Peter Schwab, the midi.
All 3 of those guys getting unsportsmanlikes. So, I mean, I think maybe fortunate for UMass that, only 1 guy getting in there and getting the penalty. I think, maybe the coaches getting in there talking the officials out of sitting a couple of these guys down. But either way, happened, move on, and the game will continue.
We've discussed at length about the dominance of Fields and Nanticoke, and also Earlin at the X today. Here's that bounce feed from Nanticoke to Connor Fields.
I mean, you when you see a goal like that, I mean, you start to get worried about what kind of day you might see out of those 2 guys. It's been, I don't want to say it's been, effortless in the way that they've been able to do things.
Looks it.
But you look at the level that those guys are playing on right now, and I'm not sure if, you plopped out, Tucker Durkin and, Matt Landis, and you're going to have success against the way that they're playing right now. I mean, they're still going to get theirs. And so it's tough when you look at that. And then we see, all right, 3 guys now for UMass in the box, as the official still trying to iron things out.
Mike Elcock is 1. Also Devin Spencer and Tom Myers, the backup face-off specialist to Noah Rack.
I tell you what, I've seen a lot of lacrosse games. I'm not sure I've ever seen 4-on-3. That is a new one for me, I think. Once I saw 3-on-3, but 4-on-3. Do
you remember what it was?
4-on-3. It was an MCLA game 2 years ago. I can't recall the teams, but it was a similar situation where a bunch of players came together at the middle of the field, and we saw a similar look. But this is an unusual matchup.
Chris Marshall is grabbing photo evidence as he speaks.
Trying to show everyone at home that it is real, that we're seeing some 4-on-3. Not that you can't see it on the screen right now, but that one for my personal records, for the next time something like this happens, whenever it might happen.
So the officials are still trying to straighten things out on the field right now for Albany. Sean Gleason, Mitch Laffin is on the field. Also Matt Perla, the defenseman.
It's like Diamond down there at the bottom as well.
And Diamond's got 2 goals today, his first 2 career goals from Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah, some good lacrosse going on in Florida right now. Casey Powell down there. I know he's running some camps with Blaze Reardon right now. So
the Florida women's team.
Find him on Twitter. Yeah, Florida women getting a really good win against UNC. Picked that one, so I'm pretty happy with that.
I saw that.
But some exciting things, of course. First ever Tewaaraton winner, Doug Shanahan, coaching down there, and we've seen what the kids from IMG are capable of.
4 versus 3.
It's like an NHL All-Star game matchup here.
Now the penalties for UMass, they've got two majors going on right now. Laughlin missing wide. One of them on the clock for 3:38, the other for 2:38. Does not specify what players.
Well, there was definitely a slash as we were coming in, and I think that one was on Elcock. So it's likely that he'll be in for a minute, but you know, the unsportsmanlike. I mean, we're going to see some man-down lacrosse from both of these guys. That one off the pipe. But for quite some time, we'll see something that's not 6-on-6.
So for those at home wondering if you're basketball fans, this might be the equivalent of Minnesota-Alabama basketball back in early December, late November, when it was 5 against 3. This is sort of similar, I guess.
Yes, Gilman just toss it down the other side. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Colarusso get up there and play some O.
Like the box game, minute left.
We saw Blaze Reardon briefly on the extra man unit for Albany a couple years back, and he's been able to catch on at least for a little bit in the NLL as well. And the officials trying to figure out offsides, I think.
Yep, the whistle blew.
I mean, see,
Albany thinks it's inverted.
Even the officials aren't sure. Okay, so the official talking about it. They had maybe an early release on the penalty, causing the turnover, and then as soon as the second penalty releases, it's like we're going to be playing 5-on-4 for Albany. So again, a mismatch as we saw the players come out of the box, and we'll have the rest of the unsportsmanlike still on the board for the 2 UMass players, and then there's one finds the back of the net. Scanoni never even saw it.
Alex Bergmaster's second of the game.
Catch the replay here. He's coming downhill. I think he just caught Scanoni sleeping, and able to put that one in the back of the net. But everyone still seems to be a little confused about what's going on. And again, we're going to see a really unusual matchup here, as it will be 3 players total at the face-off. 1 wing for Albany, and then you have the 2 face-off athletes going. And it looks like they're going to get the penalty back, and so still trying to figure out exactly what the matchup is going to be here.
We are still in the third quarter with 45 seconds to go in the frame. Albany has now scored the last 6 goals of this game.
Okay, seems like we've got this figured out now. Be 5-on-5 lacrosse for the next 93 seconds. And then there's an additional minute as the officials stopping play once again.
Peter Schwab, who is in the box for Albany, has barely played today. Entered late. And Myers was interchanging with Noah Rack at the X.
It looks like a clarification on the amount of time left on the penalty. So as they're trying to put some more time up on the board for the penalty clock. Okay, so the clarification now, 93 seconds left on both penalties for the unsportsmanlike. So the scoreboard just trying to get that correct. But 5-on-5 for the next minute and 33 seconds, and then we'll be back to even strength 6-on-6. But
we got all that.
Yeah, 666 down there getting a workout today.
All because of a scuffle at midfield. Just a frustrated UMass team, and you made a great point. The one who interjects or retaliates first is going to be responsible. As it turns out, it turned out to be more than that following, and both teams got themselves into some trouble. So here we go.
Yeah, it looks like that last one caught us with a hidden ball trick. Even beat us with that one. Coming from Albany. Josh Hawkins tuning in, giving us a little bit of help on that one.
It was Noah Taylor who scored the goal, not Bergmaster. Thanks, Josh.
It was nice to have the float of my tilt in the building.
Albany on offense. Here is Chris Ryan. Check that.
When again, this is a team that
Noah Taylor,
you see play in 5-on-5 probably more than any other team in the country, just with the fact that you see guys try to shut off either Nanticoke or Fields, and so they're an effective team, and we've seen it over the last couple of years where you'll have a player, like a Lyle Thompson or like a Connor Fields, that it's worthwhile to maybe try and shut them off.
And the third quarter finally comes to a close at Garber Field, 18-4. Last 6 goals of this one have been scored by the nation's top-ranked team. Connor Fields having a heck of a day, 12-point outing, finding his freshman teammate Nanticoke come back for the 4th on LSN. College lacrosse on LSN, Penn State versus Fairfield, the final non-conference CAA game of the week. On the schedule comes your way on Saturday, March 17th. Fairfield hosting Penn State. Stags are led on attack by junior Colin Burke, who was named to the preseason All-CAA team. They will take on a Penn State team that is currently ranked 20th in the national polls. Penn State at Fairfield in the CAA game of the week, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, only on Lac Sports Network. Chris Marshall and Brendan Glasheen with you from Garber Field on the campus of UMass, 18-4. Albany has scored the last 6 goals, including 13 of the last 15 going back to the second quarter. Noah Rack with the first shot of the 4th after a long, Chris said it best, I think a 6 to 7 minute delay due to a scrum at midfield.
Yeah, and we saw Sikirski come in and make the save, getting his first action of the game as Colarusso is hitting the showers.
Five on 5 for the next 15 seconds as that major penalty dwindles here at the start of the 4th quarter.
Yeah, some interesting stuff. Some 4-on-3, some 5-on-4, a fair amount of 5-on-5. I mean, stuff that you don't get to see very often.
Jesse Lung takes the field for UMass. He was a bright spot at the end of last year. Minute into this 4th quarter. Albany has number 2 Maryland on Saturday. We looked at this one as a potential trap game, if you will. Then again, as Chris noted, down 2 goals to Cornell in crunch time, had to rally with 3:18 left to score 4 and get the win. I think they were plenty woke for this one.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 30 seconds is all it took them to score 4 goals. I mean, playing with winners outs, hey, it's tough when you have a face-off guy that goes 24 for 24 on the day. Historically good.
Yep, one face-off win shy of tying the NCAA Division I record for a 100% face-off day. That was TD Ireland.
Yeah, lost the second face-off today to end his face-off streak at 37 over the course of 3 games.
Scott Marr told us this is probably his toughest test against Noah Rack, who came in actually 24th in the country.
Yeah, just shy of 57% on the season. He showed well.
Rack was top 10 down the stretch last year in the country, top in the CAA. Score from the left side for UMass. Jake Lisauskas with the goal, the captain.
When you see he just gets in good position. I mean, he comes down, he rolls back against his defender, gets his head up, and then just able to put it where the goalie's not. Off stick, off hip. I mean, that's good shot placement. Gets his feet under him and gets the shot off.
Third of the season for Lisauskas, senior from Derry, New Hampshire. He scored 4 goals last year, added 5 assists. This is a UMass team that had lost 2 straight coming in. Next up for them is NJIT on Saturday at 1 p.m. It's the final game of this 5-game homestand they've been on.
It's a good opportunity for a victory in that game.
And then a trip to UMass. Lowell, Hartford, another America East team at home on St. Patrick's Day. A trip to Brown, and then it's CAA time. Of course, you can check out a lot of CAA action here on Lac Sports Network. As you heard a moment ago, Penn State and Fairfield will clash on the 17th.
Seeing a lot of guys that haven't played yet today, getting some action, especially in the midfield. The Cougar Kirby out there. That one comes across the top.
Kirby played at IMG, redshirt sophomore from Quebec. Well, UMass finished strong against number 11 Yale, scoring the final 6 goals of the game, and tried to carry some of that momentum from last Tuesday into today. They'll look to do the same and finish strong here against the number 1 team in the country to take care of an NJIT team that has struggled out of the gate.
Well, UMass has always been a team that's going to play until the final whistle.
And we saw that in the third quarter.
This team isn't any different. So they're going to go out there and play hard. We might see some different looks on personnel, but this is a team full of guys that want to go out there and work hard.
Dom St. Laurent has been active today for the Minutemen. He has it back up top. Shot, bounce shot wide. And Sikierski sliding over. He's a 6'3" sophomore from Parker, Colorado. Jason Yoquinto has been the backup, but they're giving him some run here, evidently. Skip out to John Tierney.
It's good defensive play. Keep the stick in the passing lane. Spar. Yeah, I saw Sikierski warming up at the break. I thought we might see him a little earlier.
Jeff Traynor re-enters. He scored the first goal of the day for UMass. Traynor winds up and scores.
You're able to get him 5-hole on that one, but just coming downhill. UMass has some players that can do some things offensively. As we get a look at this one, he just comes right out of the box, has the shorty matchup, nice little step outside, and then beats the goalie 5-hole right through his legs. It's just a good shot. Put it where the goalie's not. Come downhill, use your momentum to your in your favor, and score the goal.
Scott Marr fired up on the sideline, keeping this second unit in check.
I mean, you got to get on his hip a little. I mean, you got to at least touch him before he gets past you. I mean, you get a little bit on his hip, you push him out another yard, that's going to improve the angle for the goalie, make things more difficult on the offensive player.
Another draw win for Albany.
It's Altamari.
Anthony Altamari this year, a freshman, 6'1". Normally the backup was Jones, who did not play against Cordell. He was 5 of 6 coming into play today. And Myers at X for UMass on that last sequence.
Yeah, Altamari's first draw of the season.
Under 10 to go in the fourth. Thanks for watching today on Lac Sports Network. Number 1 Albany and UMass. Albany trying to make its 5th NCAA tournament over the last 6 years. They've made, 6th straight NCAA tournament appearance. They've won 4 of the last 5 America East titles, a slip up against Hartford a couple years back. And they're, of course, getting geared up with this very difficult non-conference schedule.
Yeah, Dylan Protesto on that Hartford squad, 70% on the season. Won't have to worry about getting beaten by a face-off guy this season. That one just off the mark, but another good effort, but what a play by Albany, able to back that one up. There's Cluck down there playing some close D.
A.J. Cluck from Calgary attended the Central Memorial. Great Danes back on offense. If you missed it earlier, you missed a show from Connor Fields and Dahoga Nanticoke. An excellent afternoon. Chris had mentioned it, you know, just 3 shots for Nanticoke against Cornell on Sunday. He comes back today with Fields, and they have an extremely incredible bounce back. Yeah, productive to say the least. Each scored 5 goals. Nanticoke had 3 assists, and Fields added 7.
I mean, you look at some of the other guys that are in the Tewaaraton race. You talk about, you know, Connor Kelly. You look at Ben Reeves. You look at, you know, Pat Spencer, and you get 9 points from Spencer, 10 points from Kelly, and there's another goal coming from Albany. But making an absolute statement today that Fields wants to be at the top of the field.
Another goal for Albany. That was Ashton Bradley. Another freshman getting some run from Sayville, New York.
Well, that's a step-down shot. I mean, you get a little unsettled as the ball went down behind the goal, and then he's able to catch, step, shoot, find that top corner, beats goalie stick side high. Coach Marr still fired up. And unhappy with the play of 14. Saying he caught somebody in the back of the head.
Talking to Trainer, Jeff Trainer of UMass.
Coach Marr out there protecting his players. It's early for UMass.
Under 8 minutes now left. What are you looking forward to most in number 1 versus number 2 on Saturday?
I mean, you talk about a couple of really great players in Fields and Kelly. I think seeing those 2 guys when they know the other guy is on the other side of the field, just showing up and showing off. And I think those are the two guys that I'm most excited to see. But also, I mean, you look at the defense that the Terps put out there year in and year out under Coach Tillman. That's going to be an exciting matchup, an exciting chess match between 2 really good players. Certainly the officials calling it a lot tighter now than at the beginning of the game, as we saw that one go down, likely for a push. And there's another flag that comes out. See if we might get a 3rd one here. But, you know, seeing those 2 teams go head-to-head is certainly going to be a fun one. At least I hope so.
Noon Eastern on Saturday in College Park. Screaming on the sideline now for UMass is Craig McDonald, the assistant coach in his 4th year. He actually played at Albany, 2008 graduate on Greg Canella's staff. Lots of hollering in this one this afternoon.
And so you see,
yep, that's what Marr was barking about earlier.
And that's where the first penalty came from. And I think we're going to get 90 seconds here going against UMass. Combination of a push and a slash.
And that is Logan Denenza, who is on a knee in the box now. Albany on the man up.
Yeah, Coach Marr letting his second unit run through the man-up play. Always a good idea if you have the opportunity at real game speed.
Schwab is in there as well, and then bottom shelf.
Let's see, no goal.
No goal for Patterson.
Landed in the crease.
Good call by the officials.
It's a good look, just too close. Got to make that pass one step earlier.
Patterson has not scored today, has not scored a goal. That was his 5th shot attempt. He is often involved on that offense with Fields, Nanticoke, and Justin Ray. Here's another look at it, Chris.
And you see it gets the step off as the pass comes right through, and he lands, and he's got to shoot it just a little earlier, maybe while he's still in the air, because he lands in the crease. It's that left foot that just gets a toe on it. And we'll see what the call is here. One official had a timeout for Canella, but we're seeing a flag here down on the field. Let's see who this is going to be on as the officials are having a conversation. I think he's waving off the flag as he has a conversation with Canella. Let's see if he's going to get the timeout and see if they're going to maintain possession here.
So I heard one official say no flag.
And again, the Zebras getting their money's worth today. But it's going to be a change of possession.
No timeout, I guess, either.
No time. Well, I mean, if it's a change of possession, there must have been an
That's
offsides
right.
because they had the ball down at this end of the field, and we're still seeing some confusion there because they're man down, and I think that's probably what caused what's likely an offside situation. But still another 30 seconds of 6-on-5 for the Great Danes.
Patterson thought he converted, but did not after the crease violation. Albany has another crack at it here.
And that's a good look on the skip pass. That's the one they were looking for. They got the shot they needed, just didn't hit the frame.
Noah Taylor misfiring. Junior midi from Watertown, New York. Scanoni with the save.
It's a good save, and it's a good no pass as he had the opportunity to maybe try to thread the needle down the middle. Now is a good time for the Minutemen to go into their offense and see if they can put one in the back of the net.
Trainer has scored a goal in this final stanza. And Lasoskis has as well. Two of their top scorers from a year ago trying to get going this year. Trainer, their leading scorer from a year ago with 2 goals in this game. There's Jesse Long. He was a blast to watch at the end of last year. 32 in the white. Here's Kevin Tobin drawing the double.
Now back to full strength. I mean, for me, this is just a good opportunity. That's plenty of room there, and the defenseman just gets his stick in the lane.
Trainer
stay with UMass.
Yeah, Trainer denied by Taylor. To recap what we've seen today, this is the 18th meeting between UMass and Albany consecutively. I think UMass was looking to just make personnel changes with the timeout. 4.5 minutes left. And from the get-go, Chris, we saw Connor Fields and Dahoga Nanticoke take over the game, dishing to one another, both scoring off each other's passes. They were involved pretty much on every point in this game.
Virtually. I mean, when they were in the game, it was 1 point that they weren't involved in. So when you take that into account, I think you got to find positives. You got to learn from every loss. And I think what we learned about UMass is that when they get the opportunities, they're a team that can score goals just like that. I mean, granted, this is against the second defensive unit, but we saw them play effectively on man up and play effectively when they were in their offensive sets. They just couldn't get the possessions. Too many turnovers and then just too much offense on the other side.
Kevin Tobin here with the goal, freshman.
And he does a good job of protecting his stick. He's keeping it in a place where it's hard for the goalie to see. And also, he's a smaller guy. He's 5'6", listed at 180. But you see him move along. He hides his stick. It's not so different from a quarterback going through, the play action where he hides the ball behind his body. If you can keep your stick hidden from the goalie and maybe keep your defender between you and the goal, it gives the goalie just a little bit less time to be able to react. Tobin back in from the box.
Noah Taylor. Tobin trying to go for his second in a row with 3.5 left.
Tobin's been shifty. And when you get a player like that who's a shorter player, they're tough to defend because it's hard to get low enough to get under to get on their hips. And so you start pushing them in the side there, and then they draw penalties, and they're able to get under the checks, especially on like a long pull. You look at a Joey Sankey type player who's very shifty, very quick feet, good footwork, and they're able to duck under a lot of the checks of the bigger defensemen.
So I just tallied it up. 12 of the 14 goals that Fields and Nanticoke were on the field together, they accounted for 12 of the 14 scores. There's a score there for UMass. The dish from Tobin.
It's Charlie O'Brien on the G there. And again, you're looking at this one, so you see a quick look, and then nice little hitch. He turns the corner, takes the shot, and is able to get that one off the hip. It's good shot placement. We get one more look at it there. But again, it's just like what we talked about. These guys aren't going to give up. They're going to go out there and play till the final whistle, no matter the scoreline. The deficit is 11 at this point, but there's still time to go out there and learn from what you can get from this defense and continue playing.
Charlie O'Brien, sophomore, played in 10 games a year ago.
Another procedure call going against the Great Danes there.
You mentioned UMass does not have any bad losses. They'll go to 0-3 against ranked teams this year.
Harvard's a good team. They're not ranked, but they're good enough to be. I mean, they're a team that reasonably, if they string together some decent play, some decent quarters, could win the Ivy. I mean, they're not the favorite, but they're a team that's good enough if they're playing well. Morgan Cheek on the watch list is a player. So I mean, I don't look at that loss to Harvard as a bad loss. It's a winnable game, but it's not a bad loss.
I mean, given the shaky starts of Towson and Hofstra, do you now look at the CAA preseason poll and pretty much just crumble it up and throw it away? Because Delaware's off to a tremendous start. Drexel does lose some firepower from a year ago, but is that wide open, you think?
Well, as they say, Brennan, that's why you play the games. And I think when you can talk as much as you want till you're blue in the face about what you think is going to happen, but that's what makes college sports fun. You just don't know. And you got Coach DeLuca out there, and they've got DeLuca in the goal, and the way that Charlie Kitchen's been playing this year. Delaware, for me, I think might be the team that's playing the best, but it's wide open. I think anybody can go out there and win the CAA if they can get hot at the right time. I've seen some flashes of some impressive play today from this UMass squad against literally the best team in the country right now. So I don't think you can count anybody out in CAA play. So I'm certainly looking forward to the tournament. I think there's going to be some really, really tight games.
UMass looking to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2012 under Greg Cannella. They'll look to do so come time for CAA play. And again, they've got one more game left in this 5-game homestand, which is on Saturday against NJIT, and then Albany, number 1 Albany, goes to College Park to take on number 2 Maryland this Saturday at noon.
I mean, that's the one to circle on the calendar. A little bit of an anticlimactic game yesterday between UNC and Denver. Seems like both those teams had a case in the Mondays. But when you get a Saturday game between number 1 and number 2, there's not a whole lot better than that. Especially when you've got maybe the 2 best players in the country going head-to-head. And the number 1 and number 2 incoming freshmen as well, as Bubba Fairman out of Utah gets some real good burn through the midfield on that Terp squad. I mean, if it weren't for Dohoganantikok, we'd be talking a lot more about Bubba Fairman.
And that will do it at Garber Field in Amherst. Number 1 Albany with a 19-8 win over UMass. The Great Danes stay unblemished, improving to 4-0. Connor Fields and Dohoganantikok combined for 10 goals, 10 assists in this thrashing on the road. 19-8, the final. Maryland is next on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can recall a better performance by 2 offensive players, by 2 attackmen on the same line. You talk about 22 points, or 20 points rather, between those 2 players. That is an impressive number. It was an impressive display by 2 exceptional players, and I think it was a statement. I mean, they needed to come out and have a much better showing after Sunday against Cornell, but that was really special. I mean, that was a special game.
6th straight win for Albany in this series against the Minutemen.